Hello and welcome to Low Budget Gaming and welcome to another first Descendant video. So I wanted to chat a little bit about the dev stream from earlier today, 10th of March, Tuesday. So they had the usual monthly dev stream with all the content coming up in the month of March. This will be arriving on the 12th of March from 2 days from now, Thursday. And so, yeah, so this is basically what we are getting. I'll not go into too much detail here. I'll just share some of my opinions because the full live stream is available on their YouTube channel and they've also done an official summary. So there's no point in me summarizing everything, but I'll still talk about everything and share my thoughts on this. So Sharen is getting the rework for this month. Infiltration operation, there's a new dungeon called the Legion Lab. A new weapon, the Crime and Punishment dual swords. 2 trigger modules, 3 defensive modules, 2 Transcendent modules for Keelan. We are getting weapon rebalance for Wave of Light and Kingsguard Lance. Void Abyss, we are getting the Ice Maiden coming back. And then we have the daily mission board, Descendant mission board. Axion gets the sort of infiltration support thing where you can randomize the dungeons, let's say. And then some quality of life improvements, new skins, new login events. So we're starting with Sharen. They've changed some of the skills and how they work. So basically with the first skill, instead of her just slashing, now she can also dash with her first skill. So if you see here, you can actually dash and move forward. I think this is a nice change because at the moment, we just have her standing in one spot and just swinging her sword. So this is a little bit better with that. They've also added an ability to mark the enemies with the third skill, the shock nuts. And then with the second skill, you can teleport to the location of the enemies. So this will be a skill that you can either use with the instant cast or you manually place it. And so you can see here with the third skill, they can mark these enemies, they'll take more damage. You can go into your camouflage and then dash towards them. They've also made adjustments to 3 of her Transcendent modules. So you can see they weaken them and now they can do more damage with the fourth skill. The fourth skill hasn't changed, but the first, second, and third skills have changed a little bit. Overall, they are focusing more on using her stealth abilities, and I think that is a good thing. I don't think this will make a huge difference in terms of like making Sharen the meta or something, but people who like Sharen and people who enjoy playing the stealth side of things, I think this will be fun for them. And yeah, so it'll be a good change, but I don't think it'll suddenly make her meta. So a few other changes to her Transcendent modules. They've made some changes so that when you come out of cloak, you'll do a lot of damage. Also, you can see over here, also by the way, the Thunder Cage, the effects have been brought back. So if you remember at the start, they had these effects, these lightning effects, and then they had to tone them down for the performance related reasons. Now they've brought it back. So yeah, I guess they've sorted out the performance issues. So yeah, so they just went over the sword and also how she works with the different weapons. They are showing the new sword here briefly. I think we'll come back to that. But yeah, this new sword also has this sort of combo meter. There's a new dungeon called the Legion Lab, and the boss at the end is called the Sculptor. Now this lab looks fairly familiar to something like the Mystery's End or something like that. So very familiar looking from the interior. But yeah, it looks like a slightly shorter dungeon, which is, I think, a good thing because we will be farming the swords here. And overall, it did not seem like it took too long for the director, even though he was trying to use Sharen and show off the new skills. He finished this in 4 minutes 29 with Sharen while not trying to be very fast. So I think we are probably going to see low 3 minutes with other Descendants. The faction here, besides the Legion of Breach, was the Legion of Darkness. So I think the Chill Descendants will be very good here. Viesa, Haley, Daya. We also have the occasional bigger boss popping up, which we saw yesterday from their tweet. The final boss was a little different, but it did not seem like it was anything particularly challenging. The final boss room was different. Basically over here, you have this big boss at the end and the sculptor sitting. So I think you have to defeat the boss first, and then the bubble from the sculptor goes away, something like that. So yeah, so it doesn't seem like it's going to be too difficult. So So if you have a decent build with your Descendants and some decent Ancestors mods and stuff, you should be able to clear this dungeon comfortably. Next up, we have the new weapon, the Crime and Punishment Swords. So from the quick look over here, what we see is multi-hit, fire element, and fast swords basically. So again, they did not go into detail, and we'll look into the builds and stuff like that, but it also has this combo meter over here. So as you hit enemies, you build up your combo and you do more damage. Yeah, seems interesting. And yeah, also I just like the animation and stuff for the sword here. The dual wielding is pretty fun. Next up, we have a new skin for the Shadow. This is a Transcendent tier skin. This is called the Shadow Reborn. They briefly showcase that a little bit here with Dia. As you can see, it's got that orange sort of effect. Yeah, looks cool if you like your weapon skins. Next, we have two new trigger modules, Tactical Disruption. This is concealment based, so this will work with Sharen and also with Haley. So as you know, Haley with her camouflage sniper thing, she can use this as well. The other trigger module is called Bloody Deployment. This is for Gley and Eugene. So basically people who consume HP to do damage, and they'll turn it into sort of a melee damage increase. So because they felt like Eugene and Gley both have decent amount of damage, so they turned it into more of a melee damage. 3 new defensive modules for the swords. Now, I'll be honest, since they changed the way the block works on the sword, I haven't really looked into that side too much, but with these changes, you are getting some more crit rate and things like that, so might be worth looking into these new Transcendent modules. Ultimate modules. Next up, we have Keelan, a couple of new Transcendent modules for Keelan. With this one, the fierce attack, what they showed was him basically getting a toe ability with his third skill. Is sort of like a ring around him, similar to, let's say, Harris, you could say. So you can see here there's a ring around him and it does a lot of damage. He still dashes and does a bunch of damage, but with the third skill, he sort of steps back a little bit and creates this ring. Again, they did not go too much into detail. So once again, when this goes live, we'll look into this and make some builds and adjustments and see if this changes things. You can see the ring sort of moves with him and does continuous damage. Wave of Light and the Kingsguard Lance get a rework. And what it seems here from what they showed here is they are working towards the onslaught mode, and they're preparing all these weapons to sort of do some automatic damage, let's say. Like you leave these solar flares and they'll do continuous damage. And yeah, to me, it seems like they are preparing for the onslaught mode. And this is where we'll see the full potential of these weapons. Again, they did not go into too much detail with the numbers and things, but yeah, this is the Wave of Light. And for the Kingsguard Lance, they've simplified how you set up the turrets, the 3 turrets with the Kingsguard Lance. So you don't have to shoot at them constantly to keep them shooting. You set them once and they will do their job basically. So you can see over here. So yeah, so it definitely seems like it's been simplified, and definitely something they are looking at for the onslaught mode. So for example, Jaber here, you'll set up the lances and then you'll set up your turrets. So I think this is how the onslaught mode is going to work and you're going to manage. Next up, we have the Ice Maiden Colossus returning. So when we had the Ice Maiden last time, we did not have Nell, Harris, and Dia, so they'll add the skins for those 3 descendants. They did not talk again too much about the changes to the Colossus if the boss is getting buffed or something, but it shouldn't be too difficult. The Infernal Walker skins will still be available. The Infernal Walker boss will go away, but the Flamekeeper skins will still be available if you wanted to pick them up. So yeah, so again, not much to talk about here. Surprisingly, we got a couple of minor balance adjustments to Gley and Lepic. So with the Gley, added skill range increase effect to maximize lethality, and Rampage improved hit detection height. For Lepic, they've increased the base crit rate to 20%. So Lepic was at 15%, they've increased it to 20%, and grenades adjusted to be pulled in and reduce the fire intervals for overkill and increased efficiency. I think this should help Lepic a lot more than it looks over here, because increasing the crit rate makes it much easier to max out the crit. and with grenades, and just I think he just needs a bit more faster animations, I think, and he will be decent. Next, we have the Descendant mission board. So again, this is the playlist for the daily missions. You have to do certain missions. It'll show you what rewards you get. So for example, you have 2 Sigma sector locations here, 4 infiltrations, 1 void vessel. We kind of already do this here, the 2 Sigma sectors for the ancestors module. So they've just sort of arranged this, and doing this will give you a bunch of items. For the weekly stuff, we have the 4 infiltrations in the Axian planes. Now, for now, we go to the supermassive receptor to get 10 of them, 10 ancestors modules, and then 10 in the Forbidden Sanctuary. What they've done here is now you can go anywhere you want. You can run one dungeon and get all 20. You can split them, things like that. They've also added the infiltration support thing on the dungeons here. So for example, let's say one of the dungeons becomes easy to farm and everybody's rushing there and getting their 20 ancestors modules. But if you wanted to play in the public setup, you can select this option and it'll put you in a random group or in the random dungeons, one of these 4 dungeons, wherever people are more likely to be found, I guess. So yeah, so this will be helpful if you are not seeing a lot of people in the specific dungeon that you want. They've also made some stat improvements. I did not see what they changed over here. You can get a quick glance at the different stats of your Descendant. We kind of already do that right now. So I'll have to see how they've changed this and how this is helpful. They've also said they'll be making more changes. One thing I noticed here is this expected damage thing. This is a new addition here. So based on your modules, you should be able to see the expected damage. I don't know, this is expected damage against whom. So is it against a level 1 Order of Truth, or if this is against somebody else? But at the moment, we can basically just use this as a reference. So bigger number is better, I guess. So let's say you have 3 million damage here, and then you look at a build and the person has 10 million. So you can actually see and adjust your builds and figure out where you are missing in terms of damage. So yeah, hopefully they keep making changes, but at the moment, well, I'll have to wait until Thursday to see how these changes are applied. Then we had the skin updates for March. So we are getting the Cyber Ninja, I think they call it Ninja Reborn or something. And we have a premium skin for Freyna, a skin for the Shadow Sword. This is all coming on the 12th. And then on the 26th, 2 weeks later, we are getting the 3 common skins for the first anniversary content contest winners, I should say. And then we have the common skin for the dog. We also have some emotes and things that are also coming up with this one. I think the Freyna skin looks the best. Then we have some events, login events. So at the moment, we have the Unveiled Truth or something that is currently running the long 35-day event. We are almost at the end of that one. I think today is day 34. So we'll have another 35-day login event starting. I think that one will run for another week for you to catch up and get everything. But yeah, so there'll be a new event. So 1 skin for Bunny on day 21 and 1 for Freyna day 35. Now this one is interesting. This is Cillian's module enhancement mission. So this one here is another readjustment for your ancestors module. And there's something called master tokens that you get. And then once you use them, it guarantees you 1 ultimate tier option on readjustment. So I'm really curious to see how this works. And this will be bought from the BB on. So similar to how we had the time shards and things like that. So yeah, this is definitely a lot more interesting. So you'll be guaranteed 1, let's say, Transcendent tier role on your ancestors mode. We'll see how many we can do, but yeah, they're trying out different things to see how they can make the re-rolling of the ancestors modules better. Another event starting on the 2nd of April until the 15th will be first re-roll will be free for your ancestors module. And then we have something new here, a caliber discount coupon event. So starting from the 12th, you will get a coupon for 100 caliber discounts. So this will be just a login reward. And then for people who buy the Ninja Reborn Assassins bundle, you'll get a 500 caliber coupon. So they will have some sort of expiry on this, but basically, yeah, you'll get a coupon caliber discount. So this is the first time they're doing this. Let's see how this goes. As long as there isn't like a limitation on you have to spend so much before you can use this, I think this could be very useful because 100 caliber coupon, if let's say I buy like a head skin for 225 and use this, I think that will be a handy thing to have. Maybe a preset slot is 150. I could use this and get it for 50. And then, of course, if you are really liking the skins, you get this, and then you get another coupon that you can use on something else. So let's say you get a 750 caliber skin and you take 500 out of that, it becomes 250. So it could be handy for people who like buying the skins. So yeah, so after that, they had the producer join in for the Q&A. With the Q&A section, I don't really pay too much attention. I tend to watch all of it, but I don't take this seriously because there is a lot of, okay, we are looking into this. I'll go back and talk to the team. And yeah, this is something we are planning in the future. So they don't really commit to anything. But there are occasions where we get some hints of what's coming. They talked a little bit about the Karel storyline ending and a new one starting. They said there will be a new, I think, a swimsuit collection in the summer. Again, that is not something we need to ask them. We know that is happening. And so similarly, they talked a few other things, but again, nothing they committed. They talked about the collabs as well. Somebody asked about the next collab, and they said they are working with an IP and they have one or two others they're talking to, but nothing confirmed at the moment. So yeah, so that is basically what we got here with the Q&A. Overall, I think it was decent. Sharen and Keelan are getting some reworks, but they're not suddenly going to become meta. That is my initial thought here. Sharen looks good. They've changed some of the way of using her skills, which I think is good. First skill was kind of dead. But yeah, using the second skill and then teleporting, basically that blink ability, I think that looks pretty good for Sharen for movement. Keelan, again, I'll have to test similarly with the sword and things. I will have to build all of these things and test. I'll try and do that in the coming days. And yeah, content to look forward to. I'm happy as long as there's updates. I'm always happy and willing to, make builds and videos and stuff like that. But overall, yeah, interesting update. It seems a lot of it is being prepared for the Onslaught mode. So hopefully that mode does well when it launches in beta next month. And all of these changes make sense, let's say. Anyway, that's it for this one. Thank you for watching. See you next time.